Yo, what up, man? Welcome back to the podcast, man. It's your boy K.Dot Mims, the only spot you get authenticity and entertainment at the same time. Appreciate everybody that's been rocking with us, man. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man. It helps us out, it helps us grow. So we really appreciate everybody that's been tapping in with us. So I was going to chill this week. You know, the Monday Night Crew killed it last week. Last Name Loyalty is going to be recording this weekend, so I was going to chill. But I got to come to. I feel very passionate about what I'm about to speak on. So recently, DJ Vlad, who has a really big social media following, really big YouTube channel. He does interviews with different people from the culture, asking them all types of wild questions. They be answering them, whatever the case may be. He has a really big channel. So recently, he reached out to Marlon Wayans. He reached out to Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans was like, I want $40K for an interview and 30% of the revenue. Now, I'm not going to get into if Marlon Wayans is worth $40K or if he should be doing interviews of at that price or getting 30%. I'm not going to get into that. But what I am going to get into is like, look, dog, how can you get mad at somebody for having their price? Like, my question is, how can you get mad at somebody for having their price? Their price is their price. I don't care who, I'm not going to say I don't care who you are, but like, if I reach out to you and I say, hey, I want to do this, and you say, hey, this is how much I cost. If I can't afford it or I don't see the vision or I don't see that investment, walk away. There's no reason for people to feel a way that somebody has their price. Now, if you got a price that ain't nobody willing to pay, that's a whole nother conversation. But Marlon Wayans has been on the Breakfast Club multiple times. He's selling out his comedy tours. And I'm not trying to say that Marlon Wayans is the biggest name out there right now. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is he has other things to say that I can say a price that I feel like I'm worth. I think a lot of people, it's two ways this conversation can go, right? I think one way is, you know, everybody is stuck in the era of your price is your price. I ain't gonna even, your price is your price, yes. But people, you gotta have value and people gotta be willing to pay that price. You can't just be throwing out a price because you feel like you want money. Am I saying that's what Marlon Wayans did? No. But what I am saying is like, if you have the background or you have the resume to back up you've been doing this for 30 years. And let's be clear, Vlad is making an absolute killing off of YouTube and an absolute killing off these interviews. And if you're going to make it off my name, why wouldn't I ask for something on the back end? Like, that's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, why wouldn't I ask about that on the back end? I don't get why people are so worried about what, oh, Marlon Wayne ain't worth 40K. I wouldn't pay that. But if he got paid $5,000 and Vlad made $50,000, you'll be cool with it. Obviously, he knows something that we don't know if he asked for 30% on the back end. Because ain't nobody going to want 30% of $1,000. You get what I'm saying? Now, hey, he may not move the channel. See, this is the thing about Vlad's channel that I don't think a lot of people think about. He usually pulls out some crazy, messy, unknown information from people that always seems to go crazy. So if Marlon has that type of information about people who are in the industry or people who are in that field, like, it very much so can be one of those situations where it was well worth it. I got the information I wanted. I got exclusive information. Boom, boom, boom. That's cool. We can do that. You can move like that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. But what you can't do is go to the internet after somebody says their price, because now if Marlon was asking for 40,000. And you can debate about in the comments who is worth 40,000, who's not. What do you think the next person gonna want if they think Marlon is asking for 40? Not saying because he didn't get it, but if I'm asking for 30% on the back end, I know something that you don't know, or I know something that the masses don't know. It gotta be, because that's the only way I'm gonna go for that. You know what I'm saying? But I think the situation is like, you don't go to the internet. You can't get mad when you inquire about somebody's cost and they tell you what it is. Walk away. There's nothing to talk about. There's no bad mouthing you. There's no bashing you. If I got a 50K price limit, a 50K price tag, and nobody wants to pay it, I'm just a $50,000 price tag that nobody wants to pay. There's plenty of clothing, purses, perfumes, cars that sat on the lot, sat on the shelf, sat on the rack. So it don't really matter. Like, I think the bigger conversation about it to me, and again, I'm very passionate about this, is like, I look at it in this sense, right? With YouTube or podcasting or whatever the case may be. Like, a lot of people are trying to get to that place of subscription. A lot of people are trying to get to that place of membership, Patreon. My thing is this: You can have a $12.99 Patreon, and people are worth whatever money. People's time is worth a lot. So whatever money you making for them, whatever money you want to do is absolutely worth it, right? But like you gotta think like, am I giving something that's worth that? I can say I want $50 $50 a month for this, but in reality, is what I'm giving to people worth their $50? And I think it's two sides of business that don't get talked about a lot. That's kind of dangerous right now. Like your price is your price, absolutely. But do you have the skill, resume, and testimonies to back up your price? Like you can't just come out with that without putting in the work first. You know what I'm saying? True story. The podcast party started about like 4 years ago. It wasn't, I would pay for the venue, pay for everything up front, pay for everything that I needed to pay for, for my brothers, pay it all. Oh, everybody just pull up for free. Because at the beginning, it's about proof of concept, proof of skill, proof of value. So I think people are so scared to invest their time and money because in reality, you want a quick come up. Your price is really not that price. You want that money and try to make it once, but you're not willing to prove that you're able to do that. Now, if you're proven and you can do your thing and you can kill it, I ain't even talking to you, dog. Keep moving, because the one thing that remains true, if your price matches your value, 9 times out of 10, you booked up. You got some motion going somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the reality of that. Like, if your price matches your actual value, like, people are not just going to let you sit around. And this is the thing. When you really know your value, you know your worth, money's only going to drive you to a certain point. From a production standpoint, there's some things I may do. There's some things I may do because I want to do it. It's not about the money, because I already have what I want client wise. You know what I'm saying? It has zero to do with the money. And if somebody else benefits, I'm all for that. I look out. I don't care about that because I'm doing it for whatever reason I want to do it. And to keep piggybacking off like the Vlad situation is like, Vlad has a right to say no. He's built an amazing platform. Ain't nobody tripping on that. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily agree with the way people get up there and start speaking and talking about all them different things. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But I will say, like, he's built that. Another say like, nah, I don't want that. Or to say like, your numbers don't push there. You know, you can say all that. But again, when your value matches the price tag, 9 times out of 10, you're booked. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thoughts on the Vlad thing. That's my thoughts on your price being the price. But I kind of I'm going to try to keep it under 30 because I'm passionate about what I'm going to talk about. The next thing I want to talk about is kind of like, bro, I've been in this thought process of YouTubers, podcasting, creative space, man. Millennials versus the World _podcast on IG. If you don't follow us on there, and on Facebook, Millennials versus the World podcast. It's so funny, bro, because like I know people have done this, probably not honest enough to say it. Like when you look at other creatives or you look at other people that you really admire, the only difference that I really have come to realize as of recently, because I'm not gonna lie, we've been getting a lot of traction and going in the right direction in real life. The tour is going really well. The numbers are going really well. The interaction is going really well. The DMs are going really well. Like a lot of people are really connecting to our topics, our journey, our process, our vibe. So we appreciate that. But what I really want to talk about is like, dog, people got to spend more time getting ready for the moment instead of wanting to go when the moment comes. And me and my bro Lewis, shout out to him, we were talking the other week, man, and we were just talking about always forward looking, always forward looking, always forward looking. And one of the biggest things that came out of the conversation was kind of like, sometimes we got to sit back and prepare right now, because if we're not prepared, we ain't gonna know what to do when it come anyway. And so many times I think we look at other people and try to look at where they're at and realize, hey, I think there's a lot of money being paid for some of these platforms, for some of these people to grow on these platforms. That's just my opinion. I'm not hating. If you got the bread to pay it, pay it. If that's the way you envision it happening for you, do it. But like, bruh, in reality, you have to cling on to who listens to you and know who listens to you and talk to them. Because recently, man, on the Monday Night Crew, it's 6 of us. We're all millennials, 3 women, 3 men. 2 married men, 1 married woman, 1 woman in a relationship, 1 single woman, 1 single guy. It's every perspective you can ask for. You know what I'm saying? So we don't always necessarily agree, but we always do come from different perspectives, different healthy perspectives, and I don't think there's nowhere else doing that. So then it comes down to what? Discoverability, right? The Monday Night Crew has been recording for almost like 2 years. I want to say consistently as the Monday Night Crew. Namesake. Oh, I'm gonna say about a year and a half. Dog, when once you stay consistent and somebody sees you, that's all it's about. There's no need to like go outside your box, go outside your bag, try to start doing things you don't want to do. That's not what it's about. I think it's about waiting to be discovered, and not saying that you shouldn't go out there and do opportunities. But what I'm saying is like, if you getting in your bag and you building up a resume or a portfolio, and you understanding the production side, you understanding how to hold a conversation, you understanding how to do the descriptions, you understanding how to do thumbnails, you're just waiting to be found. And a lot of people just stop before you're actually found. You know what I'm saying? And I think the most dangerous part about that, transparently speaking, is like, you can't really be worried about the wrong thing. And the wrong thing may be everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna dig too deep in that bag, but I just want to say, like, don't always get caught into trying to figure out if this person did it, I should do it. Or if I get 15 views this week, how many likes did you get? Did you gain a subscriber? Oh, I got 1,000 views on this video, but did anybody like it? Did you get any comments? Like, you can look at every avenue and get something from what you're putting out. So I'm saying that to say, don't focus too much on what's not happening. Be very intentional about what is happening, and understand that, like, bruh, essentially everybody's waiting to be found. So if you're not being you, when you're found, you're going to sound like everybody else. You're not going to sound like somebody that understands. You're not going to sound like somebody that understands their value if you're trying to do something that everybody else is trying to do. It's just not going to work like that. I really do feel like sometimes we get caught into pop culture in the sense that we need to do everything that is happening. You could talk about it, but to do it is a whole nother ball game. But let me halt right there before that go too crazy. But yeah, man, I'm just passionate about it. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like sometimes we spend a whole bunch of time searching for nothing instead of just doing what we want to do and becoming great at what we want to do. And then once you become great, people will find you. Yeah, so I just think it's that, and be great. The last thing I want to tap into that everybody's gonna kind of laugh at, man. Back to school is here. Back to school is in full effect, man. Your boy's an educator himself. Pray for us. All the parents feeling good, sending their kids back. We ready to get your babies back, but it's still an adjustment. You understand what I'm saying? Well, all people that love education are ready to get your kids back. But let's talk about what back to school represents, man. It's so funny because everybody's on the opposite ends. Teachers, educators are like trying to get back in the groove, and parents are loading them kids up, ready to get them on the bus, drop them off, whatever the case may be. But back to school is such a significant time because the transition, like me, man, you know, the transition to see your kids start to grow up and really be out here getting older and going to school like that, bro, it's hard. It's hard on the mind. You understand? Us first-time parents aren't okay. Well, I'm not. You understand me? But back to school represents a time, man. Like, just be mindful of, you know, kids going back, talking to your kids about how they treat other people, talking to your kids about what's the main thing, academics, go get that bread in the grade sense. Talking to your kid, you know, and people, making sure your kid ain't being mean. Let's take adults out of it. I feel like adults should be able to control themselves. I'm not saying kids should disrespect with adults, but what I'm saying is like adults can separate it a little better. But like, man, let's actually try to have a conversation around bullying with our children, man. What it looks like, what not to do if you are getting bullied, to talk to somebody. You know, fall is among us, whether we like it or not. So kind of like watch out for that seasonal depression bag as school starts and The summer's winding down. Like all those things are conversation pieces for our children, man. I think it's very important that we talk about their transitions. A lot of time adults, we think about ours, and kids are so what's the word I'm looking for? Kids are so not ambitious, resilient, that we don't always respect their transitions the same way that we would, that we respect our own. Like it's hard for us going back and getting back in the groove, but it may be different for them. And when kids typically are going through something, they're not, their emotional intelligence is to the point where they don't know how, like they don't know not to project it. So talk to your kids, man. Talk to them. Parenting needs to be at an all-time high right now, dog. Parenting needs to be at an all-time high. School is back in. Rap with your kids. Spend time with them. Check their phones. Check. I can't tell you to check their text messages. It's like invasion of privacy. But look at what they're doing. Look at where they're spending the most time at. Don't get too caught up in. Don't get too caught up in. What. Don't get too caught up in what they're telling you versus what you're seeing. But like, yeah, dog, back to school is back, man. We back, dog. We back. But hey, that's all I got for you today, man. Appreciate y'all tapping in. I really had to talk about the Vlad and business thing, man. I was gonna chill, but I decided to come in. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man. And see, we are on the way. We are on the way September 28th, Durham, Raleigh area, Deja's Bar, podcast party coming to you. Also, part one of our docu series, Millennials vs. the World podcast tour behind the scenes. DC Stop is out. Tap in with us, man. Tap in with us.